Mike in Austin, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, we got about 10 minutes left.
Okay. I was raised like an Episcopalian. I've always had faith, but then I've been watching this show in the last 5 years, and I started finding myself being kind of atheist curious, and I've realized that.
Okay.
And I kind of, was listening to everybody, because I'll listen to anybody's arguments,
Have we
But
met
then
you
I felt
before?
myself drifting back towards having faith in my own way.
Mike, have we met you? I can't.
Yes, I've talked to you before.
Yeah,
and you were really nice when my mother. You were really nice when my mother died. I said something about I can't believe that she just dies and goes to nowhere, and you were really nice, and you didn't just say dismiss me as a Christian or something. You said, well,
okay.
you gave me some philosophy about celebrating what they were when they were alive. And
okay. Good. I'm glad that was a good memory. Okay, go on.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so I just let the natural, like I say, I listen to the argument, and then I make my decision later on. I listen to both sides or all sides of an argument, and I just felt myself, like I said, I was atheist curious. I guess the way you call it. And I just felt myself going back to the naturally having faith, and then that's just where I leave it. I don't expect anybody else to. That's just the way I live it. So I think that a lot of people, when they fear atheism, it's like people that fear any kind of whether it be a conspiracy theory or they have maybe looking at certain kinds of artwork, that are kind of off the wall, off the charts or something. You need to give everything a shot, and then later on you make your decision. And that's why I think a lot of people have a lot of fear. They don't, because I know, like atheists, you have your reasons. I've listened to all your arguments, and I felt myself say, well, that's right. It doesn't look like there's a God and all that kind of stuff, but I still feel it. And that's what I think that people would just say, look, you still feel it. You're not going to, God's not going to tap you on the forehead and double tap you in the head and say, hey, what are you doing listening to these atheists on their TV show, I mean it's valid to sit and listen to you guys. And I mean, you have your reasons, I have my reasons, but at the end of the day, I still have faith, and that's fine. It's just who I am, that's just who you are.
So what evidence convinces you that a God exists?
Like I say, there's no evidence. It's a feeling, and it's a feeling that.
So this is an emotional thing. Completely.
It is very emotional. So a lot of it's from my mother, and my mother was not a devout Christian toward the end. When she died, she started slipping into like Buddhism and stuff, and then she just kind of. I think that her pain and going through all the cancer she had and stuff. I think she was being tried, going through a lot of trials, crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
But still, what she passed on to us, you just feel like it still lives, and I think a lot of what you said, Russell, that's your name, Russell?
Yes.
Yeah, what you said resonated with me, but I just feel like it goes on after death. And I think my main point has always been the soul, and I think that's the big dividing line, because I don't care about creationism, I don't care about all that stuff, I just care about the soul, and in fact, I think that it exists. Even if while we're alive, it still exists.
Right. Well, I mean, I appreciate your nice words, and I hate to needle you a little bit, but I think it would be fair to say that what you said at first, which was you have your reasons and I have my reasons, isn't exactly accurate. What you meant was you have your reasons and I have my feelings.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
that's right. You're right. Okay. To define the word reason, I understand. Yeah. Okay. So I have my conclusions, or I guess you would say, and my conclusions, and you have your conclusions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can't argue with your feelings, obviously, and I don't really want to. I think that it makes more sense to base what you think on solid reasons, and that's what we try to say on the show. But we don't disagree that people have their feelings also.
Yeah.
And if you're not, like people say sometimes, if you haven't been reasoned into a position, then you can't be reasoned out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay, you still believe in a God and you still listen to us. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think most people, when you encounter these people like going, stay away from those atheists. I mean, they're afraid to even read any kind of all kinds of different arguments, as I've described. They're afraid to. Everybody needs to listen to every argument, and then you make your own decision.
Right. Well, I always hope too that what this show does as in order to make a positive influence is not only try to make atheists out of everybody, because one, that's too much work, and two,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's possible.
But what I do like to say is that we'd rather have somebody be a liberal Christian than a fundamentalist Christian, and we'd rather have somebody be an agnostic than a liberal Christian, and we'd rather be somebody be a serious atheist than just a pure agnostic.
Yeah.
So if I helped your drift towards our side, then I'm satisfied. Although I think that knowing that you don't really have a reason for God, I would hope that you would eventually drift more, but that's not my business.
Yeah. I would want to point something out to you, is that I don't choose not to believe in a God. It's that I don't believe in a God.
Right.
So for me, this is not an act of will. I can't believe that a God exists because I've looked for a God in every place where I should find one.
I'm sorry. Well, were you raised? Were you? Because I know Russell was raised with an atheist parent. I've heard him say. Were you raised in an atheist household?
No. My father, in fact, was a Methodist lay minister.
Oh, I see. My father's a minister too. I mean, well, he's a minister. He just became one in later years. So
my father was planning to actually go to the seminary. He was retired, and he decided that he'd been a lay minister long enough. He was going to go to the seminary, and then he fell ill and subsequently died. So he never actually got to realize that dream. But yeah, I mean, he had and that's why it's very interesting to me when people email us or call us and saying, "Hey, you've just never read the Bible, or you just don't understand it." And I always want to ask them, okay, given that my father had a much more sophisticated understanding of the Bible and apologetics than these people do on average, what makes you think that you can tell me something that he couldn't, that would convince me?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Like I said, my main focus was my mother and the emotional upbringing we had, and another the aspect of religion that it gives people comfort. I was thinking of during the Haiti devastation that in Haiti that a lot of people turn to, as usual, they turn to religion to kind of help them get through it. And I think it can't be a bad thing to have religion around if it gives people like, hey, look, let's nail one hunk of wood next to another one across another one and go out and pray to it for help, for comfort,
Right. Well, I mean, it's kind of a dicey thing, because when you commit to believing in something that you don't have good reasons for, then there's often a whole host of baggage that brings with it. Like, people say, for instance, what's the harm of somebody pretending to be psychic, even if they're not a real one? But when you look at it in the big picture, there winds up being a lot of harm that comes out as a consequence of people willing to believe in psychics, like people who are gullible and vulnerable and in a tricky position, getting bilked out of thousands of dollars for the promise to communicate with their dead relatives, or psychics who claim to be able to investigate a crime but don't actually have any actual powers, wasting a bunch of time and misdirecting police resources towards something that could have been used to actually solve the crime.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you're right. That is the big picture for that. But the big picture in Haiti at that time was just people in a lot of pain, and their whole big picture was just what they're going through on a day-to-day basis still probably to
yeah,
today.
and I'm sure there were a lot of people willing to step in and take advantage of it too. And Mike, I like talking to you, and I wish we had more time, but we are actually out of time for the week.
Thanks a lot.
So thanks for calling.